Firstly, welcoming everyone in attendance. We're delighted to have you join in on the 3D event at Hillsborough High School. Just briefly want to go over some logistics real quick. So we've got a 30-minute session today with 3 separate 3D panels. You'll hear from school administration, students, and teachers. Please feel free to ask questions directly or put them in the chat feature below. We'll do our best to get your questions answered by the panelists. The Junior Achievement team and members of the 3D team will also stay on after the culmination of the call. We realize you probably have a lot of Zooms to go to, but just know that opportunity is there as well if we aren't able to answer your questions in the 30 minutes. There's also a link that you were provided. It's an event packet, so feel free to view that at your discretion as well. But yeah, so that being said, I'd like to pass you over to our awesome 3D on-site team. We have at Hillsborough High School, it's Kelvin Pruitt, the 3D school director, and we also have Kate Stead, the 3D partnership director. So I'll pass it over to you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you for allowing us to present to you all and kind of give you all a glimpse at 3DE by Junior Achievement at Hillsborough High School. And again, my name is Kelvin Pruitt. I am the school director, and I am joined right now by our school principal, Kelly King, and our assistant principal designee, Marion Coleman. And so we'll jump right into it. I know we're pressed for time, but again, I just wanted to say thank you, and we're excited to give you all an inside look of what we're doing here at Hillsborough High School. So wanted to give the admin an opportunity to kind of talk about the 3DE experience from the lens of an administrator thus far.
I will say that I've been most impressed with the 3DE program for our students because of the opportunities that it provides them in developing skills that are going to be essential to their success in the future. I have seen them grow from their first presentations until their most recent, and it has truly been astounding to see the level of confidence that they have, their ability for public speaking, and we know how important that's going to be in their future. So just very appreciative of the program and can't wait to see where it progresses to over the next 4 years when they become seniors.
Ms. King took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the exact same thing. Seeing them from day one and how nervous they were doing their presentations, them being excited about meeting with the business partners, even though it was all virtual, and then just seeing their growth over time and always talking to them before, during, and after every case challenge is really insightful for me because they tell me the totally honest truth about how they feel. So I've seen a lot of growth and a lot of maturity, and even the leaders that we have that you will see speaking today are actually helping to develop the ones that are not as strong. So it's been quite an experience and a good experience.
Thank you. Next, and I won't tell everybody that I paid you all to answer this way, but if you could describe the value of the 3DE on-site leadership team. Did you all hear me? I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, if you could briefly describe the value of the on-site 3DE leadership team.
Yes, I will start by saying, obviously, with a brand new program, when you launch it in a school, we all know how successful it is how important it is to get buy-in from the faculty, as well as from the rest of the school support staff. So the 3DE team here has really been instrumental in working with our teachers through this process because it was a big unknown. So understanding, how do they tie it in with their curriculum, still meet those standards that they're required to do. Really just a lot of work behind the scenes to help with our teachers, which we all know a great teacher in front of our students helps our students be successful. And I really don't think that could have happened without the support of the 3DE staff, especially in this year that is so unique for all of us.
To piggyback off of what Ms. King was saying, I can't find a better team than Mr. Pruitt and Ms. Stead to not only support the teachers, but they make my job very easy as an administrator. They bring ideas that the teachers and students have to me, and we bounce ideas off of each other. We, regroup if we have to. We make all different types of plans, and they are very good at reminding me that they are kind of the buffer between me and the students and me and the teachers to kind of, because the teachers and students can go to them to bounce ideas off of. I really enjoy having them here, especially now at this time of year, because we're planning for next year and just getting their input along the way for how we're planning for next year, because we will have 9th and 10th grade students next year. So it's been a very great experience having them here.
Thank you. Are there any questions that anyone has for our administration team?
I'm not seeing any in the chat function at all, Kelvin. Guys, if you've got a question, feel free to unmute and pose directly.
I have a question. Hi, my name is Jamie Petway with 3DE Schools, and I'm delighted to hear all that you all are sharing. I am curious, in terms of critical thinking and analytical skills, have you seen any changes in your scholars since starting 3DE?
Yes, I can tell you, just being in the classroom with them as they're doing their research, listening to the research vocabulary that you hear them working through and struggling with. We all know that an important piece of a student's development is the ability to struggle and to grapple with their academics. And so I am absolutely seeing that in the classroom, and then that real world connection also. That's the biggest piece. I love my teachers that are over here that teach English, math, science, and social studies. And we all know those are important content areas, but it really is that real life application of it. And our students are starting to see that connection.
Beautiful, thank you.
Okay, guys, and we have a question from Steve Salzar. So what's the biggest challenge COVID has thrown your way?
I would say, and I think Ms. King would agree with me, is that our biggest challenge is some of our students that are e-learners, and just making those connections and keeping that regular contact with them. And then for our teachers, what I'm seeing, and this is just based on conversations I've had with them as a group and individually, is trying to balance the simultaneous teaching. Has been a challenge for them, but they have done it like rock stars, believe it or not. That has been the biggest challenges I've seen this year.
Yes, and of course, we look forward to the opportunity for field trips again. Gotta put a plug in for that, because I know that that's another real world experience for our students, and will bring this to life even more. So they're looking forward to that as well.
Well, appreciate the insight, guys, and thanks for the leadership as well. We have a question from Yvette here. What is your in-school and e-learning mix? Are there any differences with the students learning based on, I think she tailed off there, but so what is your in-school and e-learning mix? How do you balance the two?
We started the school year just under 60% of our students being on campus. That has grown now towards 70%. So we've welcomed more and more students back. And I will say, for a lot of those students and families, it really was, they've missed that engagement piece. So some of them in 3DE, for example, we're seeing what the kids were doing in class, and we're excited to get back to that. So we are progressing, almost 10 percentage points of more of our kids back on campus.
Great, fantastic. So guys, want to be mindful of the time, and Leonard's actually posted a question about hearing from the students that were in the program. So again, guys, we really appreciate your insight and leadership. Kelvin, do we want to move on to the next panel?
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
We're going to go with our teachers now. And I'll give you two an opportunity to introduce yourself.
All right, it's nice to meet everybody. My name is Andres Flores, and I teach algebra and geometry within the 3D model here at Hillsborough.
Hi, my name is Heather Fox, and I teach English 1 and English 1 honors.
So the talking point we have for you all is, if you could explain or describe the difference between teaching in the 3DE instructional model versus your previous experience teaching without the 3D model.
I would say really the biggest difference, I mean, throughout my 11 previous years of teaching, I always like teaching math, teaching algebra, teaching geometry, teaching the subject of when am I ever going to use this? How is this important to me? Why is this important to me? I always was really the one looking for how to apply this and how to bring the real world aspects into it. And a 3D model really provided that to me. I mean, through the themes, through the competencies, I have topics, I have tools, strategies of that the students can use that they're not just using in my class, they're using in their English class, they're using in their science class, they're using in their social studies class. And I'm only there to reinforce it and to reapply it and to make the math that I teach that seems so abstract to them, make it seem more real and something that they actually could use, you know, when they finish high school, when they finish college.
To kind of piggyback off of what Mr. Flores was, you know, the collaboration with the students, since they're cohorted, full mix of kids, and some kids they share the same classes, some they don't. But when they're all together in, you know, all 5 core courses, then it's really powerful having those friendships, alliances sometimes as well. And the competition that comes out of that is just incredible. And, you know, when you go through teacher training to become a teacher, you get taught like, oh, you know, cross-curricular teaching is the way of the future, and you should be really working with other teachers. And when I got into the profession, it's really, really hard to do that organically. So the 3D model is really nice that it's part of it. It builds it in. It makes it easy.
Were there any questions for our teachers?
So we had one earlier, Kelvin, just from Jamie. Are there any best practices that evolved from COVID that you will continue post-COVID?
I mean, even though it feels like I was using kind of, I guess, forced, right, because of COVID to use Canvas discussion. But I really liked, even from a math perspective, to, you know, show my kids a process, a procedure, and have all of them, you know, being now I'm teach blended and some of them are in class, some are at home. They can all post the same way to that discussion. And then they can all reply to each other's posts, to each other's ideas, much like they would on a social media platform. I've seen a lot of success with that as I use it. So that's something I'd probably continue to use. Of course, you know, technology allowing once all my students are back in the classroom.
Great. And our guest chime in. I think Yvette says, what are students saying about the value of this learning platform versus traditional programs?
We're actually going to have our students answer a question very similar to that next.
That'll be great. Thank you, Kelvin. Guests, if there are any other questions that you want to pose to our 2 great teachers here, feel free to, you know, chime in, unmute, and ask directly.
Hey, Johnny, I would like to ask them to talk very briefly about how beneficial it is to interact with the business folks.
So we have 9th graders, so they're 14 and 15 years old. And being able to speak with business professionals, you know, talk with the CEO of a company is an opportunity that they would never have, you know, if they were in a traditional program. And I always tell my students, you know, whatever career you think that you want to get into, talk with somebody who actually does it to make sure that that's something that you want to do. So them being able to see that their ideas are valuable to companies, and that when they think through these things and work hard and present something, and, you know, Delta or Arby's is like, wow, that's really interesting, that's great, you know, that just helps build their self-confidence even more.
Oh, fantastic. Great insight. And we have a question from Moaz. Welcome in, Moaz. What are the main challenges you face as a teacher using 3DE?
I honestly would say the main challenge ended up really not being a challenge. It seemed at first a little daunting to think, how am I going to cover all my standards and teach all my topics and not fall behind the other teachers in the school that also teach geometry and algebra and still get to do these challenges and be able to dedicate time to a culmination event. And then as I learned more about the model and learned more about its integration and really just got to work with the teachers in the cohort, I just understood that it really was seamless. It was, you can incorporate these themes and these skills into anything that you could be teaching. And once like that light bulb kind of clicked, really, that's what set it off. And then it's like almost anything you do, you can teach through the lens. It doesn't even have to be a big project or a big lesson in itself. That's one of the biggest things I think that we've taken away is that it can be a bell work activity. It can be a reminder activity or something at the end of class to tie these things back together.
Yes, Leonard, I wanted to ask a question. So with the kids going through the program, first is, are they exempt from having to take the standardized tests that the school board requires them to take? And then two, how are they graded on this project or this going through this program?
Sure. Well, I'll answer the question about the standardized testing. Our students still take all of the same standardized tests that the general population takes. So there is no exemption in that regard. And we actually look at our model as supplemental to helping our students prepare for the standardized test. So I guess the verdict will be out once we get back to standardized testing, but it really is helping us at this point in time to really deliver a lot of the standards and implement a lot of things that some of our students just would have never had a chance with based on interest alone. But now that we have their attention with our case challenges, we're teaching them these skills. A lot more students are buying into, everything that's going on in their classroom. So that really is a testament to 3DE bringing that relevance and that real world experience into the classroom. You all can answer about the grading.
So as far as grading, it depends on the assignment and the project. So sometimes we grade for completion. So you have participated in the classroom, you've been collaborating with your group, you have, put your ideas on paper. And then sometimes we grade for, accuracy, right? How much did you complete our group planning guide? How accurate were those answers? Do you need to refine this a little bit? And we always encourage our students to, if they got an answer wrong, to fix it, turn it back in, revise their work. Did that answer your question?
Oh, brilliant. Well, thanks very much, guys. I think time-wise, we're looking, I think we'll move on and hear from the stars of the show, the students themselves, if that's okay, Calvin, if we're all ready.
Absolutely.
No, everyone's itching to hear from the students, so we'll move on swiftly. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate all of your hard work so far this year.
Absolutely. So we talk about real world and relevant. We actually have Kiera, who's at home quarantine right now. So that's about as real as it gets, right? Kiera, if you want to introduce yourself, and then I'll let the other students introduce themselves as well.
Hey, my name is Kiera Padilla. I'm a ninth grader at Hillsborough. And
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jaden Miller, and I am also a ninth grader at Hillsborough High School.
Hello, my name is Cameron Mallow, and yes,
3D experience thus far, including you starting out at home as an e-learner?
you broke out. What did you say?
I said, if you could tell us a little bit about your experience in 3DE, including your beginning of the school year at home as an e-learner.
I think starting as an e-learner was very difficult. Even right now for 2 weeks, it was kind of difficult. And it's just because you can't be a normal student. You can't, sometimes you're in a Zoom, but you're far away from the class. You can't hear what other kids are saying, you know. But the 3D experience has really helped me out a lot. I think it's changed how I see, like, how I speak, how I explain myself, and like speak to business professionals and stuff. It's made me more confident in what I say.
Thank you. Jaden?
3DE in the beginning, I wasn't sure like what it was and like what we were really gonna do. But as we got through, like it's about taking real world experiences and finding solutions to the problems. And as I got throughout the year, the competitiveness drove me to do better and make my solutions and power good so that I could present and possibly win the culminating event.
See,
At first I thought, 3DE, the work would be extra hard because you have to try and tie in all this professional work into regular ninth grade classes. But then as it went on, I just realized that this this program made it easier for us to learn. So it wasn't supposed to be a challenge, it's supposed to make it easier for us to do all our core classes, but while managing professional businesses.
Thank you. How has your 3DE experience been different from your prior school experience, say in middle school? What have the differences been?
Well, the 3DE incorporates like real world problems and we find solutions to the problems, while in other schools we just learned the concept but never knew like how we would ever apply it in life. So I was always asking my mom like, when am I ever going to use this? So the 3DE program helped me learn like how we would use the stuff that we learned in school to real world problems. And an example was when in Mr. Flores' math class, we were learning about investments, and our theme competency was engaging communication. And we had a little project. We were supposed to explain the investment would benefit the different investments a person and give details and explain how it would help them.
Awesome, guys. Can we make sure we're just speaking really loudly into that microphone as well? I think we just got a couple of audio issues on our end. Appreciate it, guys.
So in middle school for me, it was a lot of different kids in the same, or different kids in your classes. And so say you had projects and, you don't really like get that connection, because when you're a team for a project, you kind of want to have that connection. So everything, goes well and goes good. But for 3DE, you have the same kids in almost all your classes. So you automatically build that teamwork and those, friend skills. So when you're doing that project, you don't have to take that extra time to, break the ice and get comfortable with all the students. You already have that comfortableness with all of them.
Kiera?
I think it's not only just a student change going to 3DE. I think it's very much the leadership difference. Middle school, I felt like you never really have teachers to go to if you're confused about something, or, and 3DE, when I have a problem or if I have a question or if maybe I need to go study, I can always go to the 3DE suite and ask questions to you, or I can go to Mr. Flores, or I can go to other teachers who are there to like motivate us and tell us like, okay, this is what you need to do if you have a problem. They're very open to helping you out with whatever you need.
Great, thank you. And then
Thanks,
last
guys.
question.
And sorry, Kelvin, I believe Moez, he's had his hand up. Moez, do you want to chime in?
Yes, thank you, Johnny. Just thank you to all the students here and the teachers. This is really refreshing. I'm the dean of the MUMA College of Business at the University of South Florida, so I have a vested interest as an educator, and also on the board of Junior Achievement. Very, very impressed with the 3DE. So I have a couple of questions to the students, and the first one is, if there is one thing that you see we need to change to improve 3DE programs, what would that be? And the second questions, and whomever can answer any one of these two would be great, is to what extent do you think your friends, your peers in your high school and other high schools know about 3DE, and how do we increase the visibility of this great program that is having a very positive impact, so other students get excited like you and start asking for it and follow it? And it's one question with 3 parts, so it's not 3 questions, John. Is that okay? So the third one is, again, from a college perspective, to what extent the students feel that this curriculum is helping them prepare for the next step of their studies in college? How is it setting them up? Is it really preparing them or no? Thank you.
So for the middle school part, or for getting 3DE out there, I think that, going to different middle schools and, presenting to them about 3DE and what it's about, but from, a student's perspective as well, telling them what it's about, I think that would really like influence the kids to want to do a program that has 3DE. And from a college perspective, I think learning it now, it helps you know what you want to do or what you want to study in college. I'm pretty sure nobody knows really what they want to do in college. So it really just gives you, the motivation for, public speaking or, the certain business you want to go into a profession. So it just helps you pick what profession you want.
I agree. I think that they could go to school or make a video like we did that one time. Make a video of like explaining 3DE and just presenting it to the schools and showing them the video and what 3DE is about. I feel like it helps with college because you get to learn the skills like public speaking, because in the future you may have to be interviewed. And I know that a lot of my 3DE classmates are mainly scared about public speaking because they don't want to go up in front of everybody and say and mess up and anything. So it helps with that, because in the future, if they don't have as much as a problem speaking in front of people.
I definitely think about like, how do you get more people outside of the program to know about 3DE? Personally, when I applied through choice, I didn't know what 3DE was about. I knew I wanted to go to Hillsborough. And I knew what junior achievement was, so I applied and I had no idea, but it's the perfect fit for me. So I definitely think that 3DE needs much more advertisement throughout a lot more of the schools. Middle schools need to come and do tours here or at Chamberlain. 3DE needs much more advertisement because it really is a program that's changed me as a person, and I think that it should be shown more throughout middle schools.
That's awesome. Great feedback, guys. I do want to come back to one of the question was asked before. Will you ask the students if they're involved in extracurricular activities, understanding that some are on hold due to COVID? So do you guys take part in any extracurricular activities?
Yeah, I'm in JROTC, the Army program. I'm a part of the drill team. And I'm also in student lit at 3DE.
Yes, I'm also in student lit at 3DE, and I play baseball for Hillsborough.
Awesome.
I'm also a student competitive.
And you are hearing this term LIT, stands for Leaders in Training. It's a student program I started here to really help develop our students. It's important that our students are really driving and leading the culture of our 3DE model at Hillsborough.
That's brilliant. Thanks for clearing that up, Calvin. Guys, we're at 2:30 now, so we realize many of you got Zoom calls that you need to jump off and join. The Junior Achievement staff and 3D staff will stay on for a few more minutes if you have questions. We want to thank all of our panelists. We want to thank you all for attending and your great support of junior achievement. Please stay on if you have any additional questions and we'll try and facilitate. But if not, have a great rest of your days and we hope you enjoyed it.